Okay, so in this video I'm going to show you how I am going to make my binding tape, my bias binding tape for my armholes and my necklines for New Look 6542 and actually I think it's a New Look D0815, yes, and I think this is also McCalls 6549. So sometimes these parent companies have, you know, sub companies that they do patterns for. So here's my peplum, but when I place my peplum, I like to move it over just a little bit so I have some room over here on this right hand side so I can go ahead and cut up my bias binding. So in order to cut up bias binding, it's at a 45-degree angle. So here on my ruler, I have that 45-degree angle. Oh, sorry, it's right here, 45-degree angle on my ruler. And all I want to do is place that 45-degree angle on my salvage edge over here. And that's going to give me my line for my 45-degree angle. Okay, so I'm going to move this up as close as I can to this piece here. Okay, there we go. Then I'm going to mark my line. So over here, I'm trying to make sure you guys can see it in range, okay? Over here is my 45-degree line, and it's right there on top of the salvage, okay? And then here is the line I'm going to make so that we can make our bias binding, okay? So I'm just going to go ahead and mark it. So I like to have 1.5 inch bias tape. So now I'm going to just move my ruler over to 1.5 inches. On this line here is the 1.5. So we can actually do a 1 inch today. Well, 1.25. How about that? Yeah, we'll do 1.25. Okay. So I lined it all up with 1.25, and then I'm making another mark. Okay, this is on the fold, so it's 2 layers. So again, another. I'm going to move it over 1.25 inches, line it up, 1.25 inches, make my diagonals, and I'm just going to continue to do that until I run out of space over here. You don't need too much of it. You don't need too much of this tape because it's around the neck hole and the arms, and the armholes. Okay, and then I'm going to show you how we put it all together to make your own bias tape. Okay, and bias means it's at a 45-degree angle. It's the stretchiest point of the fabric when you're not working with the knit, when you're working with the woven fabric. Okay, so there are my pieces, and I'm going to cut those out. I'm going to cut these out. So, cutter. Actually, I'm going to shift my pattern pieces so that I can go ahead and do that, but I'm just going to cut off of here. You guys can't see me, but I'm cutting off a big chunk of it on this side that I have, because this was a yard of a really nice satin. Okay, so this was 1 yard, and I just folded it this way. Okay, so now I'm just going to move this over this direction so I can go ahead and cut, and you guys can see what I'm doing. Okay, so this bulb here is getting in my way, so I'm going to take it out and I'll repin it before I start cutting that piece. Line up my line. Now you could do this just by straight up cutting, but I like to mark it before I cut. Okay. So with the 1 yard of fabric that it calls for the peplum, I'm also getting my bias out of that. Like I said, I just personally like to use it myself. Okay, here's that one piece. Cut it again. Cut that out. Line it up with my markings and cut. Okay. Line it up with my markings and keep on cutting. I'm just gonna keep cutting. Okay. Until you're done. Now, does this involve a little bit more work? Yes. In all fairness, it does. But it gives you a really nice consistent product. You're matching your colors perfectly because now my binding is going to match up with my peplum. Okay, so see, there's my peplum, and I'm going to trace that out. I'm going to make my notches and cut this out. So here's on the fold, and then remember, when that line, the grain line is like this, you want it parallel with your selvage, and I did have that over here on this side, so I made sure that was parallel. I flipped this upside down so they're kind of going in two different directions, so I can actually use more of my fabric with less of my pattern piece. Taking it, that's what makes it available for me to use that other corner over here for the bias. Okay, so now you're just going to take your bias tape and you're going to get two pieces. You're going to get the right side facing up, okay, right side facing up, right side facing down. You just want to make it so that it lines up. So you see how that makes that angle right there? That is exactly what you're looking for, okay? You're looking for that angle to make sure that you have it centered just properly, okay? So then now, what you do is you go ahead and pin it. Okay? And I like to pin mine in the direction that I'm going to, actually, excuse me, go this way. I want to pin mine in the direction that I'm going to sew. So when you sew that down, see how that goes like that, and it just makes it continuous? So that's how you make it into a bigger piece. Now, some of these pieces may just be perfectly long enough for the armholes, some of them may not be. This one's a pretty good sized piece. So there's a few of them that are pretty good sized pieces that you may only need to attach one other piece to, okay? So keep that in mind when you're doing this. Okay, so that's what you're looking for. You're looking for that right angle, so that'd be that 45-degree angle, excuse me, the right angle here and a 45-degree here. And that's how you know you have it correct. Pretty sides touching, make that look like just a big triangle right there, okay? You sew it up, you make yourself some binding tape, bias binding, and then after you've gotten it together, what you do is you press it in half. You go ahead and just iron it and press it halfway, all the way like that, and then you've got your single fold bias binding, okay? And that's how it looks like when you get it store-bought. It looks just like that. So you could buy it store-bought, or you can do it yourself, and it looks like that. Then you put it on, flip it up, you sew it down. So I'll teach you how to sew this on, but I just wanted to show you how we make our own bias tape right there, our own bias tape. And I hope this was helpful. Give us a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. And shortly we're going to be putting it all together, and we'll do step by step again when it comes to sewing each of the pieces together, so you'll know how to put in all of your pieces together on this particular pattern, and my personal shortcuts and what I like to do to really make sure that I have a good clean product. Thank you.